Okay, yeah, so the 24-hour race. So the 24-hour race, the TFH thing that happened this last time, it was actually the 12-hour race, right? So I played it with Nyx and CD, or it wasn't CD this time, it was Nyx, Fegley, and Snowman, because we only had a 4-player team. And something that I've noticed is that the race is like almost entirely about your mental state in your stints, right? So you're playing for like an hour and 15 minutes chunks, passing off between your teammates. And the way we've normally done it is we schedule it for like some of us go for the first like 4 hour chunk of back and forth and then goes to the next group of people, right? So, or I guess when the earlier ones it was 6 hours. So like you'll have one stint and well, usually your first run of each stint, first lap is just completely horrible and you're dying all the time. That's just a given. Like your very first run of the first stint is horrible, and often in subsequent ones as well. But sometimes you'll just have like a good stint, you'll get into the rhythm of going through all of the laps and it'll work out. But then you'll like stop, you'll wait an hour for the other person, and then you'll start going again, and then you'll just be completely reset, right? And that could mean that you start off on the like you could just not get back into it properly, and then you're just dying for your entire stint. You're always crashing, you're always going slow. Going slowly is not really as much of an issue as not crashing, though. Going fast is like you kind of just have whatever pace you have, and then it's the amount of crashes that you do. That's usually how it works, roughly. Like you can push, but that's not as much of a thing, obviously, because it's like a super long race. So in the last 24-hour race, uh, I don't know what happened earlier with Snowman and Fegley, but me and Nyx, my first like lap was horrible. I had one other lap where I crashed once or twice, and all of the other laps I did pretty good. So I was feeling nice, but then like I decided to go an hour and a half then because we were originally planning on doing 3 1 hour chunks per person, but then me and Nyx decided to do 2 hour and a half chunks. So I passed off to Nyx. Nyx started driving. He did pretty well as well, aside from like a small mistakes on each lap. But he had pretty decent times anyway. So he like had like one mistake on each lap rather than me that had 2 disaster laps. So then it comes back to me and I'm driving again and I'm just not having a good time. Like I couldn't really stop crashing, I guess. Like there were very few laps where I didn't die, so I was just it's just kind of a mental spiral where even if you try to, it's almost like if you just get unlucky in like a few laps in a row, things just do not go well, and then like you can't really recover from that. So what I think what you need to do is you need to just once you are like having a good stint, you just play out the entire thing until you start making mistakes and then you quit. Because once you're doing well, it's also really easy to continue doing well until like you stop playing, right? The in the previous 24-hour race, like the actual 24-hour one that was like at the end of last year. So I had 4 stints then because it's a longer race. And the first one was okay. It was like the beginning of it, I kind of threw. The second one was, I can't remember. I think the second one was like, I think my internet cut out and then I got kicked, but other than that, it was like meh. The third one was a disaster. And then the last one was really good. My last stint was really, really good. And it pushed me above Nyx in terms of average pace and checkpoints. So I actually managed to beat Nyx on. I think he had a faster PB and I had a faster average, or maybe I had both. This last time I also beat him in terms of those metrics, but that was mostly because uh, we both died in our second stint, so that was kind of a hollow victory. And in the 24-hour race that I played before that was like 2 years ago, Nyx was faster than me. So like that's kind of like my main form of competition that I have in these races, is just like against my teammates and then trying to have the best checkpoints per minute I can, and like comparing that to like other people individually. So anyway, my last stint in that 24-hour race was really good, so I ended up just eating into whoever was next after me's time, was refusing to stop driving until Snowman got mad at me. But I think if the schedule can handle it, the best way to handle these is just continue playing. Like, and I can play the game for like another hour and a half after I've played it for another hour and a half. I don't think that would be an issue. I think like unless I start getting into the mental spiral, I could just go for multiple hours and it'd be fine. So next time I play the 24-hour race, I think that's what I'll try and do. I think that's a better strat for, you know, having a good pace throughout all of your things. You like 2-hour stints? I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think just like a set time amount for the stints is just kind of incompatible with how actually driving in the race works as a player. And that's just the reality of it. Which kind of sucks when you're trying to like schedule a team. So hopefully can figure it out. I don't know. Because like what that means is that whoever is going after you also has to drive for a long time. Or the entire schedule needs to be reorganized, right? You're saying that's what teams at the top are doing? I don't know what the teams at the top are doing in any of these, honestly, so maybe I'm just like slow to catch on or like haven't been in tune with the meta, but that's just my opinion.